It was all Knicks. 108-208 is your final. Taking a look at this one. Knicks shooting 51% from the field, but what stands out, 56 points in the paint. If you recall, no Joel Embiid in this one. More so of a problem for the Sixers, especially late in this one. But now, New York up 2-0, heading to Philly. And we are joined by former NBA champ Avery Johnson and CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez. And guys, it is like night and day. Game one compared to game two between the Sixers and Knicks, but ultimately we got the same result with New York now going up 2-0 in the series. But the Knicks were never going to, let's be realistic, shoot 68% again like they did in game one. But they did still put themselves in position to go up 2 games in this series. Coach, what felt different for both squads in this tighter game two?
Well, I thought this was a game that Philadelphia could win this game. I like their pace of the game. They were playing extremely well. They made 8 threes in the first half. Sure, the Knicks dominated in the paint, but I thought the pace of this game was favoring Philadelphia. Unfortunately for Philadelphia, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around this as a former NBA coach and college coach and NBA coach of the year, I don't understand why the Philadelphia don't double team Jalen Brunson at critical times of the game. I don't know why they allow him to go one-on-one against any defender on their team, especially when he's in the mid-range, let alone the three-point line. This was a game that could have easily been stolen by Philadelphia. Obviously, the points off turnovers was huge for the Knicks, but this was a game when Philadelphia goes back and scratch and really review this tape, they'll be scratching their heads. Also, at the end of this game, if you look at under 4 minutes, under 3 minutes, VJ Combe and when you look at the threes that they miss consecutively at the end of this game, I'm just wondering what was the game plan? What was the strategy? That could have been some drives, which could have led to free throws, points in the paint. He and Tyrese Maxey, I think they missed a combined 5 straight threes or 4 out of 5 threes at the end of the game. Critically, those are the things I look like. Look, forget about analytics. I'm just talking about the eye test. I was very disappointed with the finish from Philadelphia.
Yeah, Avery, you're right. The finish was really the thing here, right? Because the Sixers started out shooting the lights out and they looked phenomenal, and it was a much quicker game. I think towards the end in the fourth quarter, a couple of things happened. For one, 4 of the 5 starters for the Sixers played a ton of minutes. Maxey played 47 minutes. Avery, correct me if I'm wrong here. There are 48 minutes in the game. Towards the end, he looked really tired. PG played 43 minutes. Edgecombe and Oubre went for 39 minutes. And towards the end, they were shooting jump shots. And they started out shooting really hot. And then by the end, they cooled off considerably. So that didn't help them. As Avery called out, the turnovers and the points off of the turnovers. They had 18 turnovers, led to 23 points for the Knicks. That didn't help. And here's the other thing. The Knicks, best fourth quarter defense in the NBA this season, and the best fourth quarter point differential. Well, what happened in the fourth quarter? They were better than the Sixers. They were +7 in the fourth quarter in a game that they won by 6 points. That game was back and forth the entire time, but in the fourth quarter, when the Knicks thrive, the Sixers did not. And I'm with Avery as well on Jalen Brunson. I actually think that the Sixers did a much better job tonight than they did in game one on Jalen Brunson. He scored 26 points, yes, but he needed 21 shots to do it. But the fourth quarter, again, was the killer, right? I mean, they tried a couple of different things. I thought VJ Edgecombe was really good on him early. They got some Dominic Barlow minutes. That's a name I haven't heard in a while. He did pretty well, but then in the fourth quarter, when it's close and you need somebody to get a bucket, Jalen Brunson did. The Knicks were just better down the stretch.
By the way, I love when Coach just drops his resume on us, and it's kind of like the man knows what he's talking about. Philly, maybe you should be paying attention. But you both emphasizing how disappointed you are with the way Philly finished this game. But now that makes me think, because they were without Joel Embiid, who was out with that right ankle and hip injury. And for the first 3 quarters, it seems like the Sixers, they were able to manage. They were able to stay afloat without him. But then when both teams got into a little foul trouble and New York kept attacking the paint, those 56 points inside. It felt like those final minutes were starting to show where Embiid's presence was missed most. But, Coach, did that fourth quarter show, when you're talking about you're disappointed in how they finished, did that show why they need him back on that floor?
Sure, they need Embiid, but I think it's more of decision making by the players on the court. When you talk about the synchronization of an offense, right? And how players matriculate doing throughout the offense and the flow of the game. There's so many variables in the game, so many up cycles, down cycles. You got to know what cycle that you're in. And a lot of times, sure, the coach got to make decisions, but that's where your point guards, especially the guys with the ball, you have to know what cycle that you're in on the floor and all the different variances that you have to deal with. You're dealing with two guards that are not deep playoff run guards. You're dealing with a fourth year player and a rookie. So those guys are learned, but that's where Paul George needs to come in and settle everything down and say, hey, these next 3 out of 5 possessions, we need to get the ball in the paint. We need to score in the paint. And if we spray it around to a couple of different guys and that leads to a 3, but we have to be very intentional at trying to get the ball with a paint entry to maybe score at the basket. They didn't accomplish that goal.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, PG was good to start the game, kind of like everybody else. And then towards the end of the game, he started to fade. And I was thinking the same thing, because it wasn't just, the Knicks absolutely dominated the points in the paint in this game, but it wasn't just because Embiid was out. I mean, Embiid is out, and then Drummond gets into foul trouble, and Bona gets into foul trouble, and they got to go to Barlow. But on the other side, the same thing happened with the Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns was in foul trouble immediately. They didn't have Mitchell Robinson, and Huck Porty got into foul trouble immediately. And the difference was that the Knicks saw that and kept going into the paint, as Avery was advocating for, and the Sixers were jacking up threes from deep. And early on, that worked, and late it didn't, because again, I think that they played so many minutes, they looked tired out there. That's a situation where I'm 100% with Avery. When you need a bucket and you've got some good foul shooters out there, get to the hoop. Because the outside shot was not falling late, and the Knicks just started to, very slowly, as they do in the fourth quarter, they're putting the clamps on you, they're scoring buckets when they can, and they end up pulling away in the fourth. So I think that was a tactical mistake by the Sixers for sure.
Yeah, and because of that strong fourth quarter, New York now up 2-0 after winning 2 very completely different kinds of games. We saw a blowout, and we also saw a bit of a grind here in game 2, but does this series already feel like it's on the Knicks' terms, Coach? And I asked this because you said that you felt like Philly could win this game, or was it inspiring enough to maybe give you a little confidence as they take this series home?
I think it's very inspiring, especially if Embiid can come back and, they don't force feed him the ball. Keep the tempo going. A lot of times with Embiid, he's a ball stopper. He wants to isolate. He wants to pick and pop. He holds the ball. He massages the basketball for 5 or 7 seconds on a possession. Tonight, you saw the ball move. It wasn't sticking. It's what we call 0.5. You got 0.5 seconds to pass, dribble, or shoot. You saw that a lot with Philly. When they incorporate Embiid back into the offense, with as good as he is, if they can play that same style of basketball and they don't force feed him the ball, I think they'll have a chance to extend this series.
Yeah, momentum definitely with the Knicks now, right? I mean, they've won 5 in a row in the playoffs, which is tied for the second longest franchise streak in the postseason for them. They're playing their best basketball right now. And again, they're finding different ways to win. I mean, that was the first close game that they've had in a couple weeks now. And they figured out how to do it, right? And there's so many lead changes, and they didn't have Karl Anthony Towns for a big chunk of the game. And again, they made Jalen Brunson work harder than he had to do in game 1, and still they figured out a way to eke it out. OG has just been so good. I think he might be the best player in the playoffs so far. He's just been so consistent. But yeah, if the Sixers can get Embiid back, Keanu, you and I talked about this pregame where I picked the Knicks in this game, but I also have the Knicks in 7. I think it's going to be a series if they can get Embiid back. There were some encouraging things. For sure, they have to, their shot diet, especially when things get tight. It's the playoffs. As Avery had mentioned, hey, get to the rack, try to get fouled, get to the line. And for sure, in game 3 in Philly, they have to clean up those turnovers because they're just giving way too many easy points to the Knicks.
Quite a few things I think they can try to clean up, but also hopefully, I know they're crossing fingers, getting Embiid back most certainly helps. But also, hey, You're back home. You got that home court advantage and trying to take advantage of that and not go down 3 games in this series. Fellas, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Thank you so much for the insight. Well, speaking of Game 3, how about we talk a little bit about it? That one's set for Friday from Philly, both Game 4 as well. That's 2 days later. Also from Philadelphia, look, Sixers now back starting to be against the wall. I'm not saying this is must-win territory, but it's the closest thing to it. Can't afford to go down 3 games.
You know you make